Here's our story of relearning almost everything and finally beginning to live.
As the sun rose every day in our new homeland, we were more grateful than ever at the beautiful kindness of our good God. He'd given us freedom and peace and rest in this new life. And he'd given us a creek flowing with water after a long drought. And then he gave us a huge surprise of hospitality through the love of the neighborhood church just down the holler. They generously allowed us to fill up our water jugs with well water and to take showers. The blessings were pouring in, confirming in us every moment that we were living in the arms of our Lord. So, I think that was a Thursday that we moved in. I'm not sure. It could have been a Friday.
I don't remember.
But I remember it being not very far from Sunday. So Sunday we had decided that we would go down to, there's a little church down the road, and just go there on that Sunday morning to see if we could meet the neighbors and see where we were.
Because we knew nobody here. This is about
an hour away.
Yeah, like an hour away from where we lived, and we just went for it.
Yeah, so we went down there. I think there were 9 people in attendance that Sunday, including us.
Yep.
Something like that. It was really small, and that was surprising to us. So
And really boring.
Yeah.
Because we were the only people in there under 65,
65, yeah.
70 maybe.
But the awesome thing about it was that they were so loving and kind and realized right away where we had bought our land. They knew the land, and they knew we didn't have any water, and so they offered the building to us to be able to get well water for drinking and to take showers there, which was amazing.
Wow. So, let me tell you folks something.
We did not have a good plan.
When you have not had a good hot shower for months, it is like, it's like a supernatural experience.
It is. And so we didn't turn the hot water heater on.
Yeah.
Down there because we didn't want to cost them any money. So we were taking cold showers down there.
Yeah.
For quite a while.
Weeks.
And I know that it was like 2 weeks after we'd been here. It was so hot and we were just miserable, and the kids were not. We didn't want to torture our kids and be like everything's miserable. So we decided to go to. They had a sale in Branson to go to, what was it called, Grand Country or
something like that.
Something like that, where there's a water park and you can just stay for a few days. So we went there, and that's where we had.
I'm like in the shower. I started crying in the shower.
I did too.
Like it. I can't even explain it.
I was just undone. I was like, just the appreciation for a hot shower and the overwhelming feeling of everything that we're doing and how hard it is. Everything's hard. Everything's so much harder here doing this by yourselves without electricity, without water, without the proper equipment. It's like nothing we've ever done before.
Work like slaves all day till dark.
Take a cold shower.
Turn on the generator. Well, we'd actually turn on the generator, and we had a window air conditioner in the tent, which honestly didn't.
It wasn't doing much.
That doesn't work.
The tent's not insulated. We didn't have.
When you're not insulated, So, and so I had this big old fan that used to be in my cabinet shop that I got it. You guessed it, Harbor Freight. And it sounds like a stinking airplane motor, and we'd crank that sucker up just to be able to sleep. But every night we'd sit in there and watch a movie.
And eat peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Yes, boy, that sounds.
And I'd have bread on my lap and just be like doing sandwiches for everybody, passing them down, and those were really good times. I think the kids will remember that forever.
I guarantee it.
Yeah, because we didn't have a fridge or anything. We just had coolers, so cooking was a little strenuous. We have a grill, so we would grill.
Yeah.
But it's so hot outside, you just don't want to. But,
Yes.
Yeah. But coolers and
the flies. So that's another thing.
Flies have been bad.
You know, I grew up, you know, always, like, we always lived in the country, and there are so many flies here compared to anywhere I've ever lived. It's ridiculous, and I've just realized you're not getting rid of them. Like, we put out them fly traps that work really good with the liquid and the stuff, and you know they'll fill it up. The whole thing will be full of flies, and everyone we put will be filled up, and it made no difference whatsoever.
Yeah, the best thing is just to make sure we're clean. We're keeping up.
Yeah.
You know, with our trash from food scraps and.
Yeah, the flies are gonna be there. You just try to keep them as far from you as you can.
Mm-hmm. And we had some fly spray, which worked pretty good. You spray it like on a surface, and they touch it, and then they die.
Yeah.
But it never eliminated them. We're still working on that.
Yeah, it's you know,
Somebody said vanilla scented things; those don't work. That's not working.
No,
we have way too many flies for those still.
Yeah.
They make the room smell good.
You can kill thousands of them, and they just keep coming.
Yeah, and then of course we had no toilet either, so our toilet area has moved several times, and like the first few weeks that we were here, I just cried. I knew there was going to be a mourning period because, you know, I gave up the house that I loved and the community that I had been working on so much. I moved away from 2 of my kids, an hour away, so it's not that far, but it's still farther than seeing them almost every day. And there's a lot of a mourning period because I had so much of what I wanted, and I want all of that here, but they're not here. And so going to the bathroom for me was probably the worst of it, because we just had like one of those handicap seats,
toilet seat
out in the open, and there's no privacy. No privacy.
I forgot about all that.
And because he's working on priority list of things, and to him, the toilet is not a priority. He'll go to the bathroom wherever, you know.
Yeah. Yo, folks, what's up? Just want to say, hey, wow, man, God is awesome. That's all I can tell you. Well, our actual living conditions could be better. We don't have full electric yet. We're using a generator only at night. We take showers by just have a 15-gallon tank that only lasts a few days for showers, and when they gotta refill it, don't have actual running water yet. And I'm a man, so it's not a big deal for me, but you know, God bless my wife for having to go through this stuff, you know, like it's not ideal. I mean, it's, you know, like, I'm a man. I'm totally fine. I'm working super hard to, at this point, pretty much just improve our living conditions. I'm still working on our temporary living. I haven't even begun to start working on the permanent living, you know. But you know, and that's all pretty rough. I mean, especially, and maybe even only on Christine, you know, which I completely understand, you know. She's my princess, and I'm trying to take care of her, and it stinks when you can't give somebody, you know, what they deserve and what they want, you know, when it's well within reason. But so that's our living conditions. Could be way better. But what's really cool is we've met some good people. Went to a Sunday morning building the last 2 Sundays. I actually like the people. For the last 10 or 12 years, every time I've tried to be a part of a local congregation like that, or whatever you want to call it, you know, there's it's anywhere from, I mean, you got to be there like 2 years before you can do anything, or you just can't do anything. It's like, oh, we're full. In other words, like, I'm the kind of person, I think everybody's the kind of person that I need to be able to do what God has created me to do, the way God created me to do it. And I don't ever, I mean, that's why me and Christine do so much stuff, you know, that's not associated with the Sunday morning building or anything like that, because that's the only way we can do what we do, you know? Nobody else will let us do it. With these people, it feels like they not only want us to do what God does through us and with us and in us, but I mean, they think it's awesome. They you know, are gonna encourage as much as they can, and which, you know, still extremely early in the process, but I'm just saying that's what it seems like so far, and I've never felt that way before in the last 15 years. So we'll see. God is awesome either way. You know, I love people and I want to be with people a lot, but I mean, really, at the end of the day, God is all I need. You know, I'm a lover of God. I'm a worshiper of God, and He's my source. He's my life. He's what keeps me going. But God is awesome and faithful and true, obviously, and it's pretty cool. Well, you know, you still, even through many years of marriage, you're still stupid, and you're still learning, you know, how to take care of your wife, how to take care of your family, what's priority instead of what you think is priority, you know.
Yeah. And then we bought a deep freeze, but we couldn't keep it here, so we had, because we didn't have electricity yet, so we had to store that at an hour away with, I think we got a quarter of a cow.
Yeah.
Too. So anytime I needed meat, I had to go over there and get that, and constantly getting ice.
Hurry up!
Yeah, mister. If you want to go to McDonald's, so
Go
bad,
down to
hurry.
the old Boson River.
Hey, get in. We're going to McDonald's, brother.
Yeah, because all we had was coolers.
Just coolers, and it's hot, so the ice is melting pretty quick. I did learn that if you put dry ice on the bottom, like under some cardboard, and then your ice on top of that, it actually lasts about 5 more days than just ice. So that's a good tip. Yeah, so the solar. We had ordered solar, so that's one of the things we, when we were developing our plan, we didn't have very much money. We got the wall tents because we couldn't afford a camper. Even like a cheap camper, a $4,000 camper was too much.
Yeah.
So we decided to go with one wall tent and just do that so we could have our own furniture.
We bought a wood chipper because we knew we were really into gardening and we wanted to be able to have mulch.
And we wouldn't have the ability to drive and get wood chips.
Yeah.
We didn't buy a generator because we had
a generator.
We had one that
an older
we
generator.
had an old one. But it broke down.
It did break down.
Just a couple months into living here, it broke down. And so we actually were able to borrow a generator from a church and a nice man there. And yeah, that was great. So we used that till we could get our own.
Yeah.
What else?
It was brutal. So we bought an old tractor because I felt like I needed a tractor where the front end loader could pick up like an IBC tote full of water, you know, could pick up like 2,500 pounds. Well, anything that was very new that could pick up that much, we couldn't afford. So we ended up buying this older Massey Ferguson tractor. Yeah, it was a total powerhouse.
But the tractor, we realized pretty quickly that it was the wrong tractor.
Well, because
for this land.
I'm good at a lot of stuff, but not very mechanical, and an older, I mean, this thing was like from the 70s, maybe early 80s, and and it had issues. It always leaked something, and so really long story short, we ended up uh, getting rid of it, almost kind of out of desperation.
Well, it was just a loss. It was not
Yeah.
for us. We don't know how to take care of it, and it's
Yeah.
the wrong piece of equipment for this land.
Yeah.
It had problems,
Yep.
and yeah. So yeah, no tractor
Yeah.
after that.
There's definitely lots of days it'd be nice to have a tractor.
So we had purchased solar, and it took about a month, I think, for it to come in.
They deliver the solar. They're out here, and
It's in a big semi.
I told the delivery guy, to no, hang on, we need to fix this. He's like, no, it'll be fine. Well, sure enough, the whole pallet flipped out over with the solar panels, which, solar panels are pretty darn fragile, fell about 8 feet into a ditch and the
Upside down.
some of the heavier stuff, like the inverter, like fell on top of it, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm like praying, please God, let it,
Yeah, it was pretty heart-wrenching. You came and got me, and we walked down there to figure out whether we were gonna then, like, what we could do. Could we return the equipment? Like,
And
just
we're all
reject
taking
the
pictures
delivery?
and-
But we decided to go ahead and keep it, and
and
we brought it on in, and
unpackaged it, and nothing was damaged at
Nothing
all.
was damaged. It was
It's hard to put into understanding. You had to be there, but it was definitely a straight up miracle.
Yep.
Like,
and we knew like God had given us favor in that moment, and for the solar, because we couldn't buy it again. We had nothing. We just didn't have any means for anything.
and so then I built a panel.
So you spent the next, you spent a month or so getting the panels put up and building the solar shack, and everything ready to be hooked up, but it took a lot longer than we
Well,
thought
at the
it would.
time, like we
So-
didn't have the money to buy the wire and stuff I needed to hook
there
everything
was
up.
some more things we needed to buy, so
Yeah.
that took a lot longer. So we went through our first winter without, well, most of the winter
Halfway, yeah.
without electricity still.
Yeah.
And that was all, like, we also didn't have money to buy wood stoves right away. So November rolls around and we don't have any heat, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at my hairs. Woo, that's awesome. Sila's house right now. Sila. I'm doing a load of laundry because we don't have any clean clothes and to wear tomorrow. So I was just doing something tonight here at Sila's before I go home to the cold. It is 20. I don't know. I think it's supposed to be 21 tonight. We don't have heat. We don't have electricity. We don't have water. But we have a lot of blankets and warm jackets. And so we just use those and cuddle up. So we sleep. Kind of cold. That's what we're doing. We're sleeping in a tent, with 22-degree weather. It's maybe 24. We don't have a fireplace yet. So we're not really prepared for this weather, but that's where we live, and this is what God has us doing, so that's what we're doing. And I don't know, last night was good. Lance had been gone last week, which was hard for me to be that brave for 3 or 4 nights out there. I don't want to do that again. It's hard. It's really mentally hard to be strong for the kids in that situation. So I don't think that's going to happen again. But I did it. It's no big deal now because it's over. But when he got back like 4 o'clock on Sunday morning. And just really glad that he got back. We're about $500 away from hooking up our solar. And we need to buy our own generator so we can give the one we're using back to have a backup generator. So that's kind of necessary before we actually start depending on our solar, because we have to have a backup generator just in case the solar fails. We need to be able to continue to run our freezers. So we need to buy 2 wood burning stoves, 1 for each tent, so that we can have, our food not freezing and our breath not being seen in our living room. So last night we watched a movie. We did run the generator while we all snuggled and cuddled up, and I had just washed my hairs at like 7 at night, and I told Lance, I said, you realize I'm washing my hair, it takes a long time to dry when it's like warm, so about 8 hours to dry. So when I get home, I'm gonna go straight into the tent. The generator needs to be turned on. We have a little mini heater that doesn't really do much unless you're sitting right next to it because the tent's not insulated. And I'm going to be under the blankets. I'm just going to stay there so I don't get chilled. And because when I wake up in the morning, my hair is still going to be wet. So I ended up doing that, and it was fine. We had a nice time. And then, it's time to go to bed. And so I get all the kids tucked in. I'm like, do you have socks? Make sure you have socks on. Make sure your coat's on. Get the warm blankets and keep them wrapped and tucked around you so your body heat will warm you up, and it won't be long before you're just nice and cozy. And then there's like a bazillion, I love you, good night, as long as, however long those take, that routine. And so we do that, and then, Lance and I cuddle up, and I'm just so grateful to, I'm like, so glad I don't have to be in a bed by myself, because this is cold, and you can just you just have to be all twisted up together. So, which is way warmer, but I'm not going to get a good sleep, because every time he moves, I'm going to be waking up. So it took me a while. He was already asleep, and I was laying there, and not real comfortable, but warm. And I just was overwhelmed, just with gratefulness. 3 months ago when we moved out here, just going to the toilet outside, I'm not an outdoor person. I don't want to do that. And the morning of losing a house and not having one, and why didn't I just buy a house? So I had to go through a mourning process, and there was a lot of crying. And it's been hard, and just a hard lesson, another hard lesson, another hard lesson. And so last night, I could still see my breath in my bed. And I'm just overwhelmed with gratefulness, that my kids, Lance and Nova, are getting to go through this experience to learn what really is possible, and to learn the real value of what's hard, and to understand what they really need versus what they want, and how little they really do need. And that if they seek God's kingdom and His righteousness, that all the things that they need are going to be given to them. The basic things. And it's good. And I hope that they never have to actually use a lot of the skills and the knowledge that they're learning now. That times don't get so bad that has to be what they do. But I'm very grateful that we are learning them. For myself too. And I still think it's good, and have no intentions of stopping. It's just more goodness of God every day. There's always something new to learn. The ladybugs and the walking sticks come out together. That was last week. Lots of ladybugs and lots of walking sticks. And this week it's 21 degrees, and sleeping in that kind of temperature, extreme cold, you make a warm tunnel so you can breathe oxygen still, so the cold air's coming in, but your warm breath is able to go out, and you don't have to just breathe straight cold air, so you're warming that cold air. And but my sheet was right here with my nose, and so that when my breath was coming out, it's like steam, but it instantly gets cold, and so it condenses, and was falling on the sheet. So I woke up middle of the night, and my sheet is it's soaked because I've been breathing, and that's just, I didn't know that. That's just neat, that happens. So anyway, life is good. We're doing good. Just carrying on. Learning new things every day.
So that was hard, but then we finally were able to get the wood stove, and we had a second tent that was given to us. And so we were able to move the kitchen stuff inside and just not have to be as fly ridden with our coolers still. And yeah, so that was a little bit better to have a kitchen counter and not so dirty.
So left on the property, there was an old home site that burned down, and everything was growing up really tall. I'm all pilfering through there, and I find this like 8-foot long, like 24-inch wide, like 3-inch thick walnut slab. But it had been through the fire, but I just took, my grinder with one of them flappy sanding disc things and sanded off all the burn, at least on one side of it. And and we've used that ever since.
Yeah.
I'm out here sitting in the cell foam chair, which out here I'll flip this around, out here on the edge of the bluff. As you can tell, we have tons of brush cleanup to do. There's most of that I've actually put there, just gonna burn it just from clearing land and all this right up along here. But there's Mount Freedom, and so you see a whole lot of our mess here. There's a tractor, a tool trailer back there. That right there in the center, that's our last load. I'm putting up our third temporary storage unit to put all that in. That right in the center is our solar shack. And then you see there in front of it the solar panels. I got them covered up with cardboard and drop cloths so they don't, get hot. I mean, not hot temperature-wise, but, carrying a current, because they will, and then they'll short out when you go to hook them up. I can't wait for everybody to come out here, like, I don't know, maybe like a year from now, when our mess has turned to beauty magically through hundreds of hours of hard work. But I'll show you. We usually don't get this good a service, but I don't know. God is awesome, huh? So there's 2 of the temporary storage units, and I'm gonna put a third one over there by where that red mower is sitting. I'll just show you. But this is Eden over here, the kids call it. It's really cool, like when all the leaves were on, because it's all shady. It looked like a total jungle. Now it only looks like a partial jungle. But this is gonna be like a park-like setting, picnic area. It'll be awesome. You probably can't tell right now, but anyway. I'll be 50 in like a little over a year, and apparently you start losing your mind. But I'm gonna put that right here. Cleared all this out yesterday. There's all that brush over there. We gotta chip that up with the chipper shredder. I'll go over here. Well, even if you've seen this, I know it looks different than last time. So I've been doing a lot of clearing and mowing. But yeah, this field over here, that'll be, it's all that's anywhere from, like 40 to 60 yards wide of all that brush. I'm gonna clear all that. It'll give us probably another 1.5 acres, 2 acres over here. And then there's the view over into the creek bottom. But anyway, bonus footage. There's a pile I gotta burn, put that together like yesterday or the day before, just waiting to dry out after all that rain. I'll probably light it up today, actually. Anyway, it definitely not very awesome looking right now, but being here is awesome. Like, it's just so, I don't know, man, free, secluded. I don't know, it's awesome. I love being away from the towns.
So one night when I was out in the middle of nowhere with no privacy on the toilet, I got to a point where it was a little bit better, and I think you had kind of actually made it a little bit more private, with some pallets again.
At least had like a tarp around it or something.
It was still open to the outside air, but
No
I
roof.
could see no roof. And so I look up and I'm like, there is something in the sky that is just completely foreign. And I'm like, it's just like shooting stars, but they're fast
And super bright.
And part of us is like, we're not like, what's it called, preppers, but there's always that part that like, well, if something does happen, we're gonna be safe and we'll know, that everything's okay. But that was going off, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
And so I'm sitting there in the tent, and all I hear is, Lance, get out here.
Lance.
And I'm like, do I need to bring a gun? She's like, no, just get out here.
And he looks up,
And I'm telling you, it's these lights that you knew we don't have like
completely alien.
something that moves that fast, that has a person in it. And I don't believe in aliens, so I know it's not people from Mars or something. And I didn't know what it was.
Well, you saw like what, about 30?
Oh,
I'd seen at least that
it
many
went. If you can imagine, like it's wide open out here. We're out in the middle of nowhere. It went from as far as you could see this way, kind of up and around and over that way,
and just disappeared.
A few seconds. I mean, this would take minutes for like a jet to do what this did. And it was just seconds.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so we were a little bit freaked out, and we didn't have internet, and we had really bad satellite service. So I'm trying the best I can to be like, contact people and be like, what's going on? And I think it was my mom that she's like, well, maybe it's a Starlink thing.
Yeah.
I think I've heard that they might be doing some launches. So yeah, so that's what it was, and we were like, oh, okay, that was really cool.
Which it was
to see.
awesome. Like
Yeah.
you'd be lucky and cool to see it.
Yeah, it was really neat to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and so like mostly just like as Lance was building things, and I was shutting down our life from before, going back to homeschool co-ops, and the kids had some plays that they were in, and while we were here, there was a lot of rain, and so we just spent time, trying to learn again how to be with each other and be outside and have the kids playing and doing fun stuff together. So it was good times.
Though I'm not a fan of cats, I'm even less fond of mice. So the first additional animals onto the farm were kittens for the kids.
This is our new cat, Silver. Found him in the driveway a long time ago. He was starving and we started feeding him. And then we just started taming him more and more. He's not fully tame, but he's not fully wild, He's our cat now. And he likes us, and I'll let us pick him up and hold him and everything. He's right over there. Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Here, kitty, 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 kitty. He's right there, 2 feet away. Here, kitty, 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 kitty. We've been taming him. He's a nice kitty. He's just a kitten. Still really scared. Just having him a bunch and stuff. Sometimes I'll just take a nap on the ground when we go by. So, I'm gonna be holding him after this a lot, so.
Our cold mornings were warmed with kitten cuddles outside by the chimenea, and the kittens began earning their keep right away, proving to be good mousers.
Delta killed a mouse. He's hissing at Samson. Delta did it by himself.
The views in open air felt like luxuries, but living in such tight tent quarters was often overwhelming. So sometimes we built up our stamina to one another with annoying tests. Annoying test number 1.
Hello! My name is Duhuba. It's French for pig's butt. Okay, what we're going to do is for the first entertainment. Would you like something to look at? Look. Look at the spoon. Look at this spoon. I think my mind. Do you want belly button pudding? She laughed. My challenge. 50% baked, cat. Oh. You found!
Annoying test number 2.
This one, it's a very bad paper. Ooh. This will be next to it. Yum yum. Look at my beard. I am Gandalf. Isn't this quite such fun? Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas! Oh, run you fools! Ha ha ha! What are the bridges? Now for my final taste. Put it back on! Oh. This is the food challenge. What sauce do you like the least? Yum 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 yum. Reactivate the body and the mind. And what I mean by let the mind and soul free, I think it's your inner being. I need help. Here, I have put some treats in the sack. Enjoy!
Annoying test number 3.
Hello. Oh, no touch. I'm marking my scent on your premises. The camera. Too high. I'd have to. There. My moustache. There's a tail. Do you like it?
Stop! You did the same thing again. I don't like the cat. Ah!
Annoying test number 5. Hello! Me, Peppa Panda! And I'm your pup. It's time to go to sleep. This is good. Okay. This guy. It's going to be hard to break. Or this. You want to hear a joke? It's a very sad joke. Knock knock. Who farted? Hello! My name's Purple Panda! Oh, did I already say that? Annoying test number 6. Hey-ya! Hey, buddy, what you doing? You want to hear a joke? You will marry Maria. Annoying test number 7. Wee, jumping up and down in muddy puddles, splish, splash, splosh, splish, splash. Jumping up and down in muddy puddles, splish, splash, splosh, splish, splash. You want to hear a joke? I love you. Okay, want to hear another one? Your mom farted.
After only 3 months at Mount Freedom, the tent zippers no longer worked. Mount Freedomman quickly worked on installing doors, and we found a brand new appreciation for such a genius invention. And our bathroom finally got a remodel that included a roof.
Bathroom. Another. Go in there and pull that curtain and ta-da! It's amazing. You can poop, you can pee, you can do all kinds of stuff, and yeah, it's not fun, but it works for now.
After a special military graduation for our oldest son, and the winter season now upon us, we spent time inside our, for now, warm tents. Christmas was just around the corner, and soon, the freezing temperatures would be joining us inside. That's it for this episode of The Flame at Mount Freedom. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and join us next time to hear how we escaped from freezing to death during our first Ozark Mountain winter.